Morning, folks. Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. We have a special, exciting program for you today, and we talked a little bit about it at the end of last week's episode. We have found a way to get some seasonal decor going. A little bit of Thanksgiving flair here to get you ready for the holiday season, and I am thankful for a lot, namely the topic of today's episode. Feels a little bit like we're at a potential turning point in our society. Now, people say that all the time, but sometimes technology comes along and it just, quite frankly, changes everything. And there's a little bit of an interplay these days, kind of a consideration. Are we living in the future or are we stuck in the past? And this week, there are two figures that I think will help us examine this topic. Elon Musk and Sydney Sweeney. Are they together? No. Okay, I'm not starting that rumor. There is no chance that Elon Musk is going to stick his chlamydia, and that's a rumor that I made up, riddled, unpull-outable cock into that beautiful woman that so many people online enjoy. But the reason that I want to talk about these two figures today is it seems like Elon Musk is forecasting that we are on the precipice of a new world. He has a robot army he has built. He has been given $1 trillion to do it, and he is promising that it will make sure you don't have to work and also that you'll get rich. Do I believe that? Maybe not. Do I believe that we are in a techno-futurist society where we are transcending, where we are becoming a new type of person? Or do I think that society is still not mature enough to handle Sydney Sweeney's boobs and is freaking out on her because of it? We're going to talk about both these things, and we're going to start with Elon Musk here. And of course, we have some other great stories, as we always do, but this is our fundamental question of the day. Are we living in the future or are we stuck in the past? Well, Elon Musk says we're in the future. Business Insider here. Elon Musk says Optimus will eliminate poverty. Oh, that's good. Now, I'd already asked for a clarification because I think if you tell the robots to do something, you got to be specific. You know, if you're talking with ChatGPT and you say, hey, do this, it just does it. You need to tell it how you want it to do it. Because if you just told the robots to eliminate poverty, it might be like, had a fun day in the San Francisco Tenderloin. There are no more poor people. It's like, well, did you give them a house or did you shoot a howitzer missile at their tent? Not very nice and not what we should do. Not least because could you imagine the shit going everywhere? That would be wild. Elon Musk has spent recent weeks outlining a vision for an economic future with Optimus that will eliminate poverty. Jobs will no longer exist, and in a benign scenario, all humans will receive a universal high income. And this was at the same, he said we'll fix poverty, and also this is when he got a $1 trillion pay package. Now, I have some concerns that the person who was very recently wandering around being like the government should not give you health care or anything is also going to be the person who's benevolently just going to give the money away. This is the potential issue with these things. I do believe that advancements in technology will create vast forms of wealth. Do I think that they will go to every person, or do I think that they will go to majority shareholders of giant multinational corporations that also control all of your data in a world that is scary from a cybersecurity perspective? These are my general concerns. And also, can I look, I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a party pooper. I've never pooped on a party. I've pooped at a party, and that's not even nice too, but you can't really control that. Sometimes you take a couple Irish car bombs, you got to go leave a bomb in the bonnet, but that's not the point. I would love to just be rich for no reason. It sounds nice, and I especially like it for a lot of the people that I know that have no chance. Let's be honest, folks. There are some people that have fucked it. And maybe it's not their fault, but they don't have Really, they're not seeing a way that life could work out. And I would like it for them to have some money, but objectively less than me because I work hard, right? I want everyone to do okay, but I want there to be some level of reflection based on whether or not you're out there busting that ass. Because you shouldn't be richer than me if you're not working at all, right? And that's what also bothers me about existingly rich people. New phrase. People who were born on third base and did coke all the way to home plate. So I like the idea. I'm just skeptical about if it would work. And I'm also a little skeptical, just a little bit. I just am a little bit skeptical that the dude who stands to benefit the most is telling us the whole truth, or maybe just the thing that we want to hear. It's a little bit like the guy trying to fuck you without a condom, who's like, "Hey, come on, what do you know? It doesn't really matter. It's actually, obviously it feels better, but also it makes you more resilient. It makes you more resilient. It's kind of like you got to be exposed to a little bit out there. You can't be too sheltered, otherwise you'll definitely get a disease." I don't really know what someone would say in that scenario, but it's just like, yeah, of course you're gonna say that. It benefits you. You're just telling us what we want to hear so you can fuck us with your robots. Potentially. Again, if he's right, if it works, hey, if everyone can get a nice high income and people don't live in poverty, that would be great. Now, I do have my concerns still about the idea that we're just going to have if everyone has the same amount of money, wouldn't that by nature just make prices go up? Right? Isn't there a supply and demand sort of like, this isn't the Chicago School of Economics, but wouldn't that just create a scenario where that becomes the new baseline and then we still have I'm confused. Is that right? There's no first class on an airplane if the whole thing is first class. Now, could we create planes where everything's a lay flat? We could, we should, we won't. We never will. Get the robots on that. Get everyone a bed. A bed in the air. What nicer thing exists? I just don't know if we can trust the people that most likely are actually just going to gain a lot for themselves and their shareholders while taking away jobs and making the country go a little bit crazy. That's just my thought. I'm a little worried that people like Elon Musk, who have a real, what they really want to make sure doesn't happen. Okay, they want to make sure America doesn't become some sort of communist, socialist country that in a charitable estimation for them would make the environment so bad for business that we can't build things, we can't progress, we can't be a good, dominant economy when you put all these bullshit nanny state government guardrails up. That is the argument. And I understand it. What they don't seem to understand is that the direction things are going is we're going to be stuck between redistributionist economics that don't seem to have worked in the past or a rampant crony capital state that is going to force people into picking them because there's no other option. It's just one of those classic situations where the thing you don't want to happen can end up being exactly what you make happen. Now, is there someone out there who could save us from this? Is there a political figure, someone who's different, someone who's an outsider, someone who thinks differently, speaks well? Is there a savior coming for us? Stephen A. Smith, take it away.
Are you going to run for president in 2028, or are you going to be on Dancing with the Stars?
I will never be on Dancing with the Stars. I'm too old for that. And even though I have rhythm, I'm not a dancer. I have no desire to do that. But in terms, I'm sorry to my peeps at ABC. I love Dancing with the Stars. It's a fabulous show. I watch it all the time, but that ain't my bag. That's not what I do. Okay. What I will say to you, however, is that I'm very, very happy with what I do, on television and on radio every day. I have no desire to be a politician, but I've left the door open, not just because people have asked me to, but because I'm not scared. I think this country is in a bad, bad state of affairs, and I think that people need to be called out for the trifling nonsense that they engage in. And I would love to be on the debate stage with some of these politicians standing across from me, trying to justify the ridiculous stuff that they do. I would love that. And so I've left the door open. I consider it highly unlikely, but a definitive no as to whether or not I would run. No, I've got a year to make that decision. And it is something that I think about every day, because I think this country is in a bad state. And to be quite honest with you, they need to be called out. And we need somebody that thinks about the American people, not just themselves or just their party. We got a whole bunch of ideologues running around throughout America. I'm not a damn ideologue. I'm a person that goes on a case-by-case, issue-by-issue basis. Let's get the job done. Let's fix the problems that are pervasive in the American community throughout this country. Let's do that for the American people. Let's think about them and not about ourselves. That's what we need in office. And if it comes down to a point where the American people decide that it's me that should be in that position, it is something I will consider.
He's running. That is the most running ass answer I've ever heard. He is running for president, and he pitched himself in almost the exact same way that Trump did. Hey, I'm just going to do something a little different. I'm going to come from outside the system. I'm going to stand up on that stage. I'm just going to make other people have to answer to me. I'm going to make other people have to answer to me, okay? Things are going to get a little bit different out there on the debate stage, okay? My God, that's not a great Stephen A. But we'll get there as he continues to pretend like he's not running for president when he will. Okay, and let me tell you a little bit of something about the American people, okay? This is important because what I want to know when we're talking about healthcare is how does it affect LeBron James versus Michael Jordan? Who's the GOAT, and how will it affect their legacies? That is the type of shit I think we might even be a little too late for this because it's much more of a social media world than an ESPN world. But politics lags behind, and maybe it is time for the ESPNification of American politics. Boom. First take. Let's do it. Okay, yeah. Well, what do we think? Like, any problem that we have, we're talking about going to war with Venezuela. Let me tell you something about Venezuela, okay? Maduro could not president his way out of a paper bag. Okay, his team does not believe in him. You got people in the streets. There was no discipline on that team. This team reminds me of the 1-6 New York Jets. Okay, I went there. No, and I'm serious. It reminds me of the New York Jets. Venezuela reminds me of the Jets, and they don't even have any Jets. And I'll tell you what, Maduro needs to cool his jets, because they're like the Jets, and they don't have any Jets. I'm basically doing between Stephen A. and Donald Trump. I don't know what that character is, but I'm ready for it in American politics because it's bullshit anyway. So let's make it entertaining. Now, Stephen A., I think he has people have different opinions about Stephen A. I'm going to give you mine, okay? I actually do think he is a brilliant talker, and I don't know if he's a brilliant thinker. He's good. He knows he has his cadence. He has his bag. He's built for TV. He's not necessarily actually an expert in anything he's saying, but he knows how to plant his feet on one thing and fucking crush it. And that is better than Trump, honestly. Like, that is what Trump was good at, but as he gets older, he's like getting more lost and weird and obvious. And like Stephen A. actually is good at that. Now, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know shit about fuck, but I honestly don't even know if he's totally right in his analysis of what the American people want right now, but I want it because I want to see it. Now, you could say like, oh, isn't it time? No, it's not. It's not. It's time for people who are not old and who are at least reasonable at speaking, and he'll be a fun option. I think he would run. I guess it really depends on which side he runs. Independent's not going to work. So would he run as a Democrat? Would he run as a Republican? I think that makes a big difference in Stephen A's career. But hey, Stephen A, hop on in. And the fact that he's even pretending like he's not is truly hilarious to me. Now, moving on, I mentioned we have some Sydney Sweeney here. Now, she popped back up. We covered it a while back. We covered how she did an American Eagle ad, and people were like, look at her being a Nazi. And then she didn't come out and she didn't do like an apology or like a disavowal, and that got people excited. Trump was tweeting about it. Trump was like, this is good, she's great. And the right was like, yeah, fuck yeah, she didn't cave. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I think it's kind of smart, because if you do something that you're not, I don't think she's attempting to be a Nazi. I think she's attempting to allude to her boobs and make millions of dollars because America's into them. We can pull up a photo of what she wore to the National Women's Summit to win Woman of the Year or something. It's the fuck? So yeah, that did numbers online. And I think it's one of those things where the people who get mad at you over something are not necessarily the people that you want to apologize to, because it's a never-ending cycle. Then it almost admits that you were kind of trying to do something which you weren't. And then if you blah, 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 and there's probably contractual shit, and who cares? So now she goes on a GQ interview, and this thing has been memed to high fucking heaven. It is all her promoting this new film, Christie, that apparently didn't do well at the box office. Now, let's watch some of the interview. We're going to discuss what it tells us about where we are now, and we're going to try to come to a determination about whether we're in Elon Musk's robot future or Sydney Sweeney's big-breasted past. Where would you rather be? Let's watch some interview.
I imagine there are personal benefits to being private about your personal life, but are there also professional benefits to being private about your personal life?
The professional benefits for me and being private is for my own just health and sanity. If I let everybody in all the time, I have nothing for myself. And I am just a 27-year-old, or I'm 28 now. I turned 28 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But I'm just a 28-year-old woman who's trying to figure it out. And I'm still learning, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to grow. And I think that it's important to be able to do that without having to say every single thing all the time.
Right. Okay. But so you're never tempted to just like open your notes app and say, this is what I really think, and this is who I am, and this is what's going on in my life, and like stop guessing and projecting.
Let's pause right here, and we're going to jump back into it. What this interviewer is getting at, and I think she's doing an interesting job, even though some people kind of got mad at her, but she's trying to Sydney Sweeney doesn't tell us what she's thinking, and so everyone can do what they want with it. And so she's like, don't you ever want to just let people know where you're at? Now, Sydney, for whatever you may think, is not a fucking idiot. And she knows on some level, deeply or otherwise, that once you bust out the Notes app, it's about to get chippy. Sydney Sweeney is not famous because she's a podcaster. She's not famous because she goes on stage and tells people what she thinks. She's famous because she's a good actress. Calm down. And because she's milked up and America was like, she's the one. We always have one hot woman at a time, and usually what we do is we try to ruin that woman's life. Not my decision, and I don't think we should. I think we should be nice to ladies. They're very nice sometimes, not to each other. Not the point. We always pick someone. There was Britney Spears. Oh my God. And they become the it girl. And it's like 13-year-old boys see the boobs and they're like, what on the fuck? What is that? And it breaks their brain for the first time in an important way, in a way they'll never forget. They just see a poster on a wall and they're like, I'm feeling things I didn't know what to feel. And it goes all the way up through college-age guys who are fully cranking to that and getting all excited about it, to, dads who are like, she's the hot one, right? We can all talk. Like, you pick it, and maybe we took some time off, but this is definitely hearkening back to a 90s era. I think I talked about this when we talked about it before. But we pick one hot woman at a time, and we make them rich, and we make them famous, and then we decide to try to destroy them. A lot of times because, some of the women are like, okay, so we're all just going to be obsessed with her. Fuck that. And then some people politically being like, well, what are we even doing? Well, do they even deserve it? Well, do they do this? Do they do that? And once someone has made it, once someone is rich, we try to tear them down regardless. It is, as they say, lonely at the top. Wouldn't know. Firmly in the middle. It's nice in the middle. The middle's fun. The middle's pretty fun. I think not enough people. We're all trying to be successful. We're all grinding. We're all trying to be the best that we can be. But you know what? It's nice to just have a little forward moving momentum, move in the right direction. A little mo is good. Momentum is everything. I used to listen to like Drake songs, and he'd just be so sad. Like, and this is even before Kendrick, but it would just be all about his ops and people trying to come for him and how he can't trust people and how sad he is. And it always struck me as such a shame. I was like, brother, you should be having a nice time. You made it. Can't pop some Cristal with the boys and just enjoy it, God's plan. Like, you got to have some fun up there. But a lot of his songs were about being scared and afraid and trying to watch the throne. It's hard for these people. So people are coming for Sydney either way, coming for her, to her. People are doing weird things. But she's a very good actress. And that's one of the reasons why she's famous, is because she can, through the words other people have written, embody sides of life, do deep, important work. And I used to say acting wasn't, but now that I act a little bit, it's the most important work. It's the only important work. We are heroes. And I have 2 lines in the next episode. This isn't the point. She is not famous because we want her takes on things. And opening up that Pandora's box is a horrible idea. Now, you edge into it when you do something that maybe people figure out as a dog whistle, or people think she went to some, like, she's right-wing coded or whatever. But she's like, it just makes no sense. When you're this famous, when you're this successful as an actress, there is no reason for you to wade into the nasty, dirty little down-home discourse that us fucking douchebags on podcasts are having. Yuck. Yucky. What are you even doing down here? Just go act, do your thing, do a few of these interviews. She probably thought GQ was going to be like, what is that jacket made out of? And she'd be like, it's a new leather that's real, but also not made from cow or something. And they'd be like, oh my God, slay. I don't know if she was expecting this, but it makes sense for her to not go. Busting out the Notes app is a bad sign. It's a bad sign. And I know that this could be clipped whenever, there may be a day when I have to bust out the Notes app. And you know what? Fuck it. If that's what I'm doing, I'm in a rough spot. But I'm going to do my best with those notes. She's not going to do that. Let's get some more intel from her.
I mean, I'll vent to my girlfriends, but
Okay.
other than that, no.
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 Okay. That's honestly really impressive. Like,
I know who I am.
right.
I know what I value. I know that I'm a kind person. I know that I love a lot. And I know that
Deep.
I'm just excited to see what happens next. And so I don't really let other people define who I am.
I'm happy to hear that. I love secondhand concern for you lately. We're sort of talking around.
That's who needs
this
to be
American Eagle
concerned
ad right now, and maybe we should just talk about it. So, were you surprised by the reaction?
I did a Gene ad. I mean, the reaction definitely was a surprise, but it was, I love jeans. All I wear are jeans. I'm literally in jeans and a t-shirt like every day of my life.
Jeans are uncontroversial. Jeans are awesome.
Yeah, I like your jeans.
You look great in your jeans. I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway. I mean, the president tweeted about the jeans ad, or Truth Socialed about the jeans ad. And that just seems to me like a very crazy moment for anyone. And I wondered what that was like.
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be
She loves
totally
him.
human. I would probably feel like thankful that somebody had my back in public, you know, and conveniently some very powerful people had my back in public. And I wondered if you felt that way.
I don't think that it's not that feeling I didn't have that feeling, but I wasn't thinking of it like that, or like of any of it. I kind of just put my phone away. I was filming every day. I'm filming Euphoria, so I'm working like 16-hour days, and I don't really bring my phone on set, so I work and then I go home and I go to sleep. So I didn't really see a lot of it.
You've made a really good case for...
Yeah. So here's the deal. If I was on her team, her PR team, it's like we don't really need for her to go in depth on things because that's not her bag. As you could see right there. Now, I believe her that she's on set acting. You're acting that many hours a day. You're just not online following the same bullshit that most of us are doing. And especially if you're like seeing it, it's like, ew, gross. Well, I made fucking $25 million on that. Who the fuck knows? I'm just going to like keep it moving. The problem is I don't think, as people try to make her a figure that represents or is more than she is, if you can have her out here doing these interviews, because she's not going to say the right thing. Now, she didn't step in it, but she's just like, whatever. And that's probably the best you're going to get out of her. But she's not going to give you the like perfectly polished, like, look, I did that ad. I read it. I saw a great joke about jeans. I went online. I saw that people had received it in a completely different way. Now, that is horrible. I would never want anyone to feel that, but I didn't think that is what that was about. The joke about my jeans was about the fact that I have giant honking tits that have made me an incredibly famous person alongside my talent in acting. I understood it to be a boob joke, and I thought, hey, I like jeans and people like my boobs. What a perfect joke. I did not want to make anyone feel uncomfortable race-wise, but I'm not going to spend hours apologizing about it because I know who I am, and that's not at all what I was trying to say. What do you think? You think I'm at the peak of my career, and I'm like, time for some Hitler stuff. What the fuck do you think? You guys are weird. You're losing your minds. She's not going to say that. She's going to say like, So there's all these articles and think pieces out now about like, has she ruined her career? Because now maybe people don't want to work with her because they view her as toxic because she can't disavow this blah, 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 or people think she's conservative, so she's this blah, blah, blah. And it's all in the mix of she's doing this to promote this movie, Christie, which is apparently an indie film where she's a boxer who also was abused in her life, and it's not doing well at the box office. And so everyone's like, oh, this is proof that there actually was backlash, that people don't like her. And the funny thing about it is so many people seem to be fundamentally missing what she is to society, and it's weird. If you're writing articles like society has decided Sydney Sweeney is racist and these box office numbers are proof and we need to now understand who she is as a political figure and her days in Hollywood are numbered and she has to be viewed different now, wrong, you missed it. And if you booked her in a movie where you thought most of America wanted to see her get punched and be abused, wrong, not what people want to see out of her. You know who else had a fighter-based indie movie flop this year? The Rock. And apparently the movie's very good, and maybe he'll win Best Actor or something. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I care about The Rock doing hand-to-hand combat. He's supposed to be flying around on some fucking magic carpet or some random shit. He's a goddamn superhero. He's big. He's big business. He's basically a fucking cartoon character, dude. He should play Captain Crunch in a biopic. He should be sponsored by General Mills. I'm sure he's great at acting. I don't pay enough attention to know or give a fuck, and neither does the rest of America. Same thing with Sydney Sweeney. She and The Rock should be in the next fucking Aladdin, and they should be on a goddamn magic carpet right now. Right fucking now. Get those two fucking idiots on a magic carpet, and you will not have a single think piece to write about. Actually, Sydney Sweeney's being racist. Jasmine was not white. Shut up, America would see it. Yeah, America would see a whole new world. Just boobs hanging out. People would watch it. Should they? No. Yes, of course. Jasmine should be from fucking wherever. Hollywood has a history of whitewashing other races. All of it's very bad. America's too dumb to care anymore. Titty girl and big strong man do titty girl and big strong man things. That's what they want. You can either get it through your thick fucking heads or not, but I'm sick of trying to describe it to you because it's blatantly obvious. You can build a fucking robot army. You can do AI. You can pretend that we're hurtling towards some brand new, wonderful future. We're not. We like tits and muscles, and it's not going to change. And it's not going to change. You understand? This shouldn't be so difficult. People used to know this. And I get that it's good to try to push. We should push things forward. I believe in that. I believe in everybody. I believe in everybody. Aside from the population at large. You see what I'm saying? I believe everybody should have equal opportunity. I love every group, socioeconomic class, gender orientation. I love all of that. But as a group of people, the totality, stupid, right? I like interesting indie films. I'm smart. I'm cool. I'm awesome. I like that shit. I like unique albums, fancy music. Oh, I didn't think they'd put that there. Wah. You know when you listen to music and it's like, this kind of sounds like shit, but they put that note out of place just so I could be like, I'm interesting. I'll even listen to that. But pop music has been the same fucking 3 chords for 100 years. And it's the same shit. Music is the same. Movies are the same. We want a fucking hero's journey. And music, we want a goddamn love song. Why? Because the people mass consuming music are fucking 15-year-olds who are going through, like, who are basically on a crazy amount of drugs just from their hormones, and they're falling in love, and they want to play Taylor Swift over and over and over again. And pop music will always be that. You write a fucking love song, people will resonate with it. Same thing with shows, too. Again, I like interesting things, and there's always room for that. But when you take someone who's a big fucking box office star for a particular reason, and then you have them do something else, and then it flops at the box office, don't write an article about it. Just understand it makes sense. Sydney Sweeney was like, hey, some things are for art, not just money. That's actually the right take. You can't write these articles and be like, it's a box office flop. People are turning on her politically. Nope. You put her in the wrong place. Have I seen the movie? No. I didn't. Why? She's not on a magic carpet. I told you what I want. I told you what I want. And I'll fucking have it. I will literally have it. Everyone thinks I'm joking. They would never make an Aladdin with The Rock and Sydney Sweeney. Would they not? Would they not? People are going to figure all these things out very soon. We talked about it on a previous episode, the whole fucking Skydance thing. They're trying to buy WB because the Ellisons have Trump's backing. So Larry Ellison's son has his company Skydance. He's trying to buy WB, and a merger this big would have to get approved by the administration. And the administration was like, well, we like the Ellisons, and we're giving them TikTok. So if you want to sell to somebody, blah 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 blah, and all of that's very, very bad. But if you think that a giant movie studio that's backed by the Trump administration isn't making White Aladdin, got another thing coming. And I don't think it's great. I think Aladdin should have beautiful Middle Eastern characters in it. But we got to find something for Sydney Sweeney to do, and it's not be in a movie where she's being abused. And I'm sure it's a great movie. I just don't want to see her get hurt. I don't. I'm sure she's done great work. I'm sure she's done fantastic work in it. I'm sure she, waltzed through the entire thing with her vintage sleepy charm. She's a sleepy woman. She's literally like, her hair in that GQ is woke up with the like this, and her face is, I might be waking up as we speak. But it's like kind of in this hot way. It's this like pouty, like, I just wake up. So there it is, folks. I mean, I actually had an interesting experience, a cool experience, very, very unique experience. I was at the Comedy Store, and I was sitting in a green room, and the green room filtered out. And I was on Adam Ray's show, very fun. Adam's set was so funny. And I'm sitting in there, and it's me, Jay Leno, and Kevin Nealon. Now, people who hang out in LA, maybe this is a more common experience. It doesn't happen much to me. And it was just me and the two of them. And I got to just sit there and listen to them talk. And I pipe in a little bit. Kevin was really sweet and like tried to involve me, ask me some questions, but like, I know my place. I'm not going to try to bulldoze a conversation between two legends of comedy. I'm just here to watch. And it was really interesting. And Kevin ended up asking Jay a really interesting question. And it was just kind of about how he's handled being this much in the public eye for the longest time, and how he handles criticism and the ups and downs, and how much he's, what crazy ups and downs he's had. And Jay said something, and this is advice that is out there, that's readily available, that people have, given before, but coming from Jay Leno, you remember it and it sticks. And he just was like, yeah, I never let myself get too into that. He's like, you'd have some weeks where people are like, oh, what a great show, you're the best, and you'd have big famous people on, and you just say, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. And the next week, you'd have Howard Stern at my ass saying I'm stealing all the jokes, and that I'm a horrible guy, and people saying that I'm like that's a culture and all. I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically like, I would have some weeks where the entire world was raining down on me, shitting on me, think pieces, articles. And I'd have other weeks where I had a huge success, and I got a ton of money, and I got a ton of articles, and I got a ton of this and that. And the only thing you can do to stay sane at all is just do your thing, because you can't control how people react to it. And that's always this. He's not the only person to ever give this advice out, but I thought it was great because he had it at such a high level. But everyone these days, even if you just use social media, even if you're not in comedy or entertainment or whatever, you post something and immediately you're looking at, what were my likes? What were my comments? Was it more than the last time? Less than the last time? Were they positive? Were they negative? Were they blah, blah, blah? And should I tweak what I'm doing based off of that? Some people would say yes. A lot of people in social media say, hey, you got to find out what's working, go towards that, evaluate everything, move a certain direction. And there's an element of truth in learning how to do what works. But really the only thing that will keep you sane is putting your head down and doing your thing. Because it's never going to be all good. It's never going to be all bad. And it's going to fucking hurt your feelings if you get into it. So all of that is to say, Jay Leno and Sydney Sweeney have a lot in common. They're basically the same person. But it's good advice for you out there. Fun story, too. It was so funny watching them talk, because it's just a different era of comedy, but in such an awesome way. Like their back and forth was insanely quippy, one-liner after another, just true legends. Jay was sitting there eating like Oreos, and Kevin's just like, oh, glad to see you're still eating healthy. And like even that, it's just like a tiny, but it was so funny to watch. And Kevin told this story I guess he had to wear Jay Leno's chin, for an SNL thing. And he had heard that Jeff Daniels, fun fact, I'm related to him. I didn't bring it up during that conversation just to be annoying, but Jeff Daniels one time had to wear the Jay Leno chin too, and it got stuck on his face. And the way they do these faces, apparently it covers your eyes and ears, so only your nose you can breathe through. And it was on him for hours. They had to use an X-Acto knife to cut his eyebrows off, crazy shit. And if he had freaked out and puked or something, he likely would have died. It was that serious. And so Kevin knew this, and then he started putting the Jay Leno thing on, and it freaked him out so much he got claustrophobia. And he couldn't even go through the Holland Tunnel or the tunnels in New York for years after that. And so there's a curse of the Jay Leno chin that literally gave Kevin claustrophobia for all these years. And Jay just goes, yeah, serves you right. So very funny little story there. And that's my advice for Sydney Sweeney from Jay Leno. And my advice to all of you, okay, as students of American culture, don't let the people who write articles every week deceive you. There's not always that much there. Sometimes it's simpler than you think. Some fun stories on the back end for you. But first, come on out and see me on the road. Denver, Colorado, November 23rd. Portland, Oregon, December 3rd and 4th. Beverly, Massachusetts, December 12th and 13th. Batavia, Illinois. San Jose, California. Huntsville, Alabama. Nashville, Tennessee. Dallas, Texas. Tons of shows coming up. And also check out the IG. I've been posting a bunch of stuff from the San Diego weekend, which was absolutely unbelievable and such a fun weekend. So I've been posting some topical jokes and things of that nature. If you want to go over to the Gram or the Talk or whatever and watch those and give a like. But moving on here, this is in the Los Angeles Times. Ex-Smallville star Allison Mack details her time in a sex cult. I was abusive. This is, if you didn't watch it, she was in Nxivm. This is Keith Raniere's sex cult that basically masqueraded as a high-performing, group for executives and adults who wanted to be better at their job in life, but ended up having to get branded and becoming sex slaves. And yeah, it turns out that as she was in the sex cult, she was abusive, which just happens so much in sex cults. Now, this is coming out because she's on a podcast where she goes through it and she's kind of making amends and recognizing that there was an abuse of power, and she used her power as an actress to get people into the sex cult. And it's one of these things where it's just so frequent that people in sex cults were abusive. It's breaking news that people in sex cults, and this is just a warning for you. If you are in a sex cult, watch out, because someone in that sex cult might be being abusive and inappropriate. It's possible. And I'm glad she came to this revelation after being in jail and now having what I would imagine is a pretty popular podcast series. Where's my Los Angeles Times article? I was never abusive to anybody in a sex cult. I haven't even been in mine yet. That comes later. I don't have the clout to sex cult up yet. That's a later in life experience. Sex cult is when you're on the downslope. You're on the downslope of fame. You're doing your Jay Leno. You're like, I'm trying not to, I just got to keep my head down and do my work in this sex cult. Now, what the real reason that I'm talking about this is, what she's been up to. She's pursuing a master's in social work. I don't think anyone who is abusive in a sex cult should ever get to have the title master, but that's just me. And looking into PhD programs in expressive arts therapy. That's what she needs, and more education. These people, just leave college. No more sex cults, no more. What are you doing? Everyone goes to jail and thinks they're a reader. Looking into PhD programs in expressive arts therapy. I swear to God, that feels like a brand new sex cult. That's still a sex cult. That's basically just a new sex cult, Allison. What are you doing? She's also working at a nonprofit to help bring creative arts such as music, theater, and poetry to prisons. That's beautiful. And none of those are even the reason that I brought this up. Over the summer, Mack got married to Frank Mink. M-E-E-I-N-K. Mink. Frank Mink. A prominent former neo-Nazi. What the power couple? What a power couple. What are we doing here, folks? Former abusive sex cult lady marries former neo-Nazi. Holy fuck, I've never seen the word former doing so much heavy lifting. You're inviting them over to a cocktail party and you're going, hey, babe, are you sure you meant former? Because otherwise, that's a rough invite. Because I don't know if I want to feed our little mushroom tartlets to the neo-Nazi and abusive sex cult lady. Whew. And by the way, here at the Joey Show, we believe in second chances. And we think love is love, and love is beautiful. And we like what Frank Miank is doing. He speaks out in support of racial diversity and acceptance. The couple met in a dog park not long after Mack's release from prison in 2013. What do we think that first hang was like? They just met in a dog park and they're like, hey, what have you been up to? Oh, I just got out of prison. What? Holy fuck, me too. What did you used to do? Oh, I used to use my power as an actress to abuse people sexually in a cult, all for the gain of a very weird, long-haired, odd volleyball playing man who wore knee pads. This is Keith Raniere. It's true. Look it up. And I helped him fuck a lot, and I feel not great for that. What about you? Oh, I was a neo-Nazi. I know. And Neo's even doing some heavy lifting because, just kind of a Nazi, but I guess, you have to, it's kind of a retro thing. You guys, what you want to fuck? I mean, these people, that's volatile. And again, hey, maybe they're doing well. She's on a pod. Good for her. Maybe they're doing well. They feel a little bit volatile from an emotion. And again, sometimes you need to find someone who's at the same part in their journey. And I think that's nice. And I think that's beautiful. But I'd hate to have a relapse. Like the fact that neither of them are like, oh, I got into a lot of, this is where drug addicts and alcoholics need more credit. Where it's like, I'm sorry, were you a neo-Nazi sober? Whoa. Were you abusive? Were you in an abusive sex cult? Sober. Whoa. You weren't on a little bit of crack or something? There's not a little, we can't, you weren't on a little something. You just got there. Your brain just went there, down a path. Now, again, we love and we love second chances, and I think they're going to hold each other accountable. But if this motherfucker relapses and is being, if I see him shaving his head to draw another swastika on it, or her shaving his head to make him a little dominated sex bitch, I'm going to be a little worried. And boy, must their sex be good, and boy, must their sex be good. I don't really want to know. I think it might open up neural pathways that should be closed for all of us. But shoot hot fucking howdy, that's an interesting pair. And we hope that their love remains full of love. And let's move on here. Binge drinking in your youth may lead to career success later in life. Research finds. We'll classify that story under duh and keep it moving. There's a story out. Yeah, some Norwegian researcher. Sounds like a band. They basically found that people who binge drank younger in life ended up being more successful. Now, obviously, this is correlation, not causation. If you're 12 and you start pounding Johnny Walker Black alone at the playground, you're probably not going anywhere fast other than jail. But what it does showcase is that being outgoing and getting into groups, which boozing actually does help you do, can form helpful skills. And it's just funny because this is an article that is only for the nerds who don't get it. Everyone else, we get it. We've been boozing with the Bella. Drinking alone, bad. Drinking with friends in the right scenario, doing the right things, pushing yourself, getting out of your comfort zone. It's good for you, folks. It's good for you. And I'm saying it now because people are turning on alcohol. It gives you cancer. True. It makes you fat. True. It's expensive. True. It's bad for your liver. True. It leads to DUIs. True. It leads to some people losing their minds and getting divorced. True. But that's all negative PR. That's all just negative PR. That is all true and means some people can't handle it. And for those people, you can't handle it, cut it out, get out of here. Go have a piece of kale. Enjoy your life. It'll be fun, a bit. But for those who can, the group, the big group, the normal people in the middle, don't turn on your friends so fast. We know booze has positive qualities. It leads to fun times. It can lead to perfect, etched in gold memories, relationships that can build and become stronger when used correctly. So use it correctly so that you don't lose the goddamn privilege. That's what's important about it, folks. There's a normal group of us in American society who just appreciate a few things. We like having jobs. Elon Musk, you hear me? You fuck. Yeah, we bitch about our jobs, but we like participating in society because it's important to being human. And that's what we can't lose sight of in this entire new world we're building. What does it mean to be human? That's what it's all about. That's what the holiday decorations are about. Tradition, connection, the things we like. Yeah, going out and boozing sometimes, if you can still handle it. That's part of being human. Yeah, enjoying the fact that there's a famous actress who's milked up and people think she's hot and putting her in movies that, yeah, she can do some for fun, but then, yeah, she can do some big ones. And no, America's not turning on her because of some silly fucking ad. There's normal people out there. And you know who's the only person who might even get that, apparently? Stephen fucking A. Smith somehow. Stephen fucking A. Smith. That's his new nickname. Stephen fucking A. Smith. Do I think he'd be a good president? Absolutely not. Do I want to see him on the debate stage? Yes. Does that mean that he might win? Fuck, maybe. But who the fuck cares? This is the ticket for the normies. Maybe this should be a new political party, the Normie Party. And then anytime someone says some really weird shit, you just go, ew, dude, get the fuck out of here. You're not in the Normie Party. And this is not centrism like the right and left are equal and blah, blah, blah. I know this is, you know it when you see it. You're being a fucking weirdo. Get out of here. Get out. You go and get. The Normie Party. For people who haven't already lost their fucking minds. Maybe that'll save the country. And maybe you should save some time for us every Thursday, folks. Thank you so much for listening to The Joey Show. We appreciate you every week. Leave a comment, leave a review, leave a whatever the fuck helps on whatever platform you're listening. And come on out and see me on the road, joeyavery.com/live. This has been The Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. Good night. Thank God